Hey there folks, I'm sorry it's been so long, but welcome back to Let's Play Broken Sword. Hopefully you'll remember from last time that we found an ancient manuscript and we're about to visit Nico to try and decipher it.
You're just not going to believe what I've found.
To George, the words found and stole are interchangeable.
It's not another part of the clown's costume, is it?
Well, I did rifle through his pants, but all I found in his pockets were knives and lint.
It's a medieval manuscript.
And there's no need to get that verified by a professional.
Khan left it in the safe at the Ubu.
It's incredible. Is this what he took from Plantark?
It could be, which means it's worth enough to kill for.
Look there, two guys on the same horse.
Oh yeah, maybe they couldn't afford one each. What of it?
Have you ever heard of the Knights Templar? Their official seal was an image of two knights sharing a horse.
And thus the invention of the A-frame.
Whatever this manuscript means, it's connected with the Templars.
How come you know about these knights?
I learned about them while writing an article on the Crusades.
And let me guess, the man in the sky told you this.
This guy
This
used to pay in. Arrived one day at the court of King of Jerusalem. He offered to protect the Christian pilgrims from the displaced Muslim armies. The king would be able to guarantee safe transit to Christians in the Holy Land. Safer journeys meant more pilgrims, and pilgrims meant trade and wealth. The Templars proved invaluable to the king as a mercenary army. It was said that they never asked how many the enemy numbered, just where they were. And as the years went by, the Templars grew in wealth and number. They were so rich, even kings came to them for loans. But at the height of their power, they fell foul of the King of France. He rounded them up and turned them over to the Inquisition. Thousands of Templars were subject to torture and confessed to heresy. Of course, at the hands of the Inquisition, there wasn't much they wouldn't confess to. The last Grand Master Jacques de Molay was burned alive. But the treasure of the Knights Templar was never found.
So it's a treasure hunt ye be involved in. I had no idea they had no subtitles back then.
Jeez, so the treasure is hidden, waiting to be discovered?
If there ever was a treasure, it's been lost for 600 years.
I bet I can find it in the next few hours.
We're supposed to be investigating a serial killer, not a medieval treasure trove.
But maybe that's what the clown and his accomplices are after.
Not about money.
Maybe this manuscript is the key.
You'd better leave it here for safekeeping. Think about it, George. One guy's already died for it, as you said yourself. Besides, that parchment is fragile.
Okay, I'm convinced. You keep hold of it.
I'm sure that stiff door downstairs is all the security I need.
I found Plantar's briefcase in the killer's hotel room. It was empty, of course.
Let's see if she has anything interesting to say about this new evidence that I found.
Do you want this photograph back?
No, you keep it. I can always make another print.
I found this in the killer's room.
What is it, a credit card?
ID, Thomas Merlin, of the Gruber Electronics Corporation.
Never heard of him, or the company.
Call me paranoid, but I don't think they really exist.
Let's take another look at the manuscript.
Yes, let's do that.
Let's face it, we need help, George. Someone who knows about these things.
Who do you suggest? Indiana Jones?
Well, I'd rather Lara Croft, but oh, this game precedes Tomb Raider. Damn it.
I know a guy who specializes in medieval studies. His name is Lobineau.
Huh. Some stuffy old fossil who gets horny over ancient relics, I suppose.
Far from it. Andre isn't the stereotypical professor you have in mind.
Where can I find this Lobineau guy?
At the Krone Museum. I'll give you the address.
Lobino the Nobino. Let's discuss the pictures on the manuscript.
There's a guy with a sword and a bull.
The only mythological bull I know of is the Minotaur, but he was only half bull.
I don't think I'd like to be half a bull, even if it was the bottom half.
What's that object between them?
It looks like a gem on top of a tripod. There's a guy with a sword and a bull. Between them is a gem supported by a tripod. There's a guy working on a loom. He's weaving a carpet or a tapestry.
or a duvet cover. It's a clue to a place, I reckon. Somewhere famed for weaving and ships.
Where folk live in barrels?
It beats copper boxes.
If you take the top and bottom off the barrel and cut it in half lengthways, you'd have a tunnel-shaped structure roughly the length of your body. And a sturdy wood shelter is much better than flimsy cardboard.
A knight with a crystal ball. Now, there's something written on the scroll beside the knight.
Yes, but it's written in Latin. Per disciplinam mea lux videbis.
By my teachings, you will see the light.
You speak Latin? Where did you learn a trick like that?
A trick? I studied law, okay? I can read Latin.
My, you're touchy. Tell me that again.
Through my teachings, you will be enlightened.
Must repeat everything.
There's a woman looking at her reflection in a mirror, but the reflection has 3 hideous faces.
She reminds me of the wicked queen in Snow White.
She was the one who said, "Mirror, mirror on the wall," wasn't she? She made me cry so much when I was a kid, Mom carried me out of the movie theater.
She didn't frighten me in the least.
Like I said, I was only a kid.
A woosy kid.
I didn't like the crocodile in Peter Pan either.
Oh, the mentally scarring effects of light-hearted children's stories. Why don't you try watching Stephen King's It and Yorotsuki Doji when you're a kid and see what that does to you? Oh, we can still click on the manuscript.
Let's take another look at...
Damn it, now I actually remember he just repeats everything that they just said again, so let's exit that and exit the conversation.
Maybe I'll check out the Kroon Museum.
Yeah.
I'm sure you'll find it useful, George.
Okay, cool, we've got a new location to go to, the Kroon Museum. So let's walk out the door into a black abyss, because maybe the artist who drew it doesn't realise that other rooms exist outside of the one you're actually in at the time, and check out these 2 cursors on screen. That's because as a master of editing, I actually cut out my saving screen. Did you like that crossfade? Well, you shouldn't, because that's my crossfade. Back to the map screen now, and we're going to Musée Kroon. Looks like it's autumn outside the museum. And as usual, I'll just quickly sweep this scene for clickable items. But it's all clear, so let's proceed inside. I do love the animation in this game, but sometimes I wish I could just cut out this pointless walking. So welcome to the museum. Let's have a quick look around before we start clicking on things. What do we have? Totem pole, some statue with boobies right there, a thing on the ceiling that looks like a boob with a nipple on it.
It was a statue from ancient Egypt. Those old civilizations sure could teach us a few things about art and beauty.
Let's touch it.
The statue didn't deserve to be mauled by a Philistine like me.
I'm not a Philistine. Let's take a look at the crap in this case over here.
The case contains some fragments of pottery. They look to me like broken flower pots. Above them, a sign read, L'Âge Paléolithique.
That's easier for you to say.
I tried to sneak my hand inside while the guard wasn't looking, but the case was locked.
Locked, you say? Let's have a look at this case then.
The case contained a collection of rocks. They were all shapes and colors, but they were still rocks. Above them, a sign read, L'Âge Paléolithique.
I'm sensing a theme here.
I tried to sneak my hand inside while the guard wasn't looking, but the case was locked.
It's like they don't trust me or something.
The case contained 2 rows of silver coins. Each coin on the lower row showed a portrait of a guy with a huge nose.
They were probably just using a walleye lens. That makes everyone's nose look huge.
I looked down at a collection of tools with wooden handles and tarnished metal blades. There were knives, chisels, and spikes fanned out in a semicircle. I guess there's always been a need for home improvement.
Anywho, let's take a look at this thing that opens the window, because it's important for later.
A metal rod attached to the wall was connected to the window.
Well, that's what it is, but what does it do?
The rod turned smoothly, and the window above me opened.
And then we notice that the guard comes over to actually close the window, which is also important for later. So while he's doing that, I'll just have a quick look at this tapestry. Yeah.
It was a tapestry of a lady, a lion, and a unicorn. If I'd had more time, I could have stared at it all day. Touching an object as rare and beautiful as that would have been the act of a barbarian.
Well, the guys that transported it and hung it on the wall of the museum must be barbarians then.
The totem pole looked distinctly out of place in the setting of the museum.
Not to mention that it looks like a bunch of children have made it. But enough about the totem pole with a strange fish on top of it. Let's have a look at the thing that's in the centre of the room, for it is no doubt there because it's important.
In the case was a spindly tripod, blackened with age and pitted with rust. It was identical to the tripod pictured on the manuscript. A notice identified it as 15th century from Western Ireland. It had been found in Loch Marn at the site of a Knights Templar preceptory. Ireland!
What's that?
This tripod was found in Ireland.
I will have to ask you to keep your voice down.
I'm sorry, I was excited.
That's weird. The girl that lives upstairs from me gets quite loud when she's excited too. Although she never screams the word Ireland.
Hey, no! No, monsieur.
Oui?
No.
No?
What's wrong?
You must not handle the exhibits.
I'm sorry.
I don't think George is really sorry. I think he's planning to steal that bad boy. Oh, and I missed this Egyptian sarcophagus over here. Let's have a look at that.
It was an ancient Egyptian sarcophagus with a beautifully painted effigy of its owner on the lid.
Let's right-click to try and use it.
Leave it alone. That closet is over 3,000 years old.
That's over 3,000!
Closet? It's a sarcophagus.
Actually, now that I think about it, I actually forgot to try and use the totem pole, so let's give that a little poke. Oh, the guard isn't telling me off for this one.
The attendant had an air of self-importance and the kind of steely eyes that never seemed to blink.
He probably just hasn't researched it at the Twilight Council.
Pardon me,
Oui, monsieur?
are you Lobino?
Oh, no. Fancy you mistaking me for him.
Because
No.
Lobino's a dick.
I am the deputy custodian.
But Lobino does work here.
Work? I wouldn't go so far as to call it that. He studies here most days, but as you can see for yourself, not today.
Oh, that's great. He's not even here. Oh, look at all this crap I have to speak to him about. Oh.
What can you tell me about the collection of pottery?
Those are remains of pots used by the original inhabitants of Paris. The Paris pot people.
When did they move out?
15,000 years ago, monsieur. Vanished in the mists of time. Didn't even have time to pack up their pots.
And that is a 100% true story, people.
I thought the original inhabitants of Paris were a tribe known as the Parisi.
That is right, monsieur. Renowned for their pots. You see, in those days, people didn't have much in the way of possessions. A few flints, some animal skins, maybe the odd bone or two. Naturally, when the Parisi came along with their pots, why, everybody wanted one.
I guess they must have caused a kind of consumer frenzy.
Ah oui, they connected the market, cleaned up.
All hail the Parisian pot people!
You don't know the first thing about those pots, do you?
No, monsieur.
For more fabricated history, press the coin button.
What can you tell me about the collection of coins?
A rare example of silver coinage from the reign of Philippe le Bel. That little old lay buried for centuries in a field on the outskirts of Paris. They're unique. Nothing like them has been found anywhere else in Europe.
The King of Bel! Devil survivor, anyone?
Who was
No.
Philippe le Bel?
You don't know? Philippe IV, the King of France.
Wasn't he the guy who wiped out the Knights Templar?
I have no idea, monsieur. All I know is he was King of France. I don't even know why he was called Philippe le Bel.
Is it because he was a bell end? Thank you, thank you.
Do you know anything about the Knights of the Temple?
No, sir. Not a sausage.
The sign on the tripod says it was found at a Templar preceptory.
It does?
You don't know anything about the tripod, do you?
No, I don't. I never had much of a start in life, you see.
Oh.
I owe what little education I gained to my uncle. He was an optician, but he also doubled as the village school teacher. He taught me the alphabet. 19 letters of it. The bottom row of the chart was too small even for him to read, so he left them out.
What the f-
Why don't you start over and enroll for adult education?
You know, I never thought of that. Do you think if I studied art and did all my homework, I could be a professor of history?
At your age? Dream on.
Why is he always such a dick to people?
Can you give me any further information about the tripod?
Certainly, monsieur. It's infamous. That tripod,
Wait for it.
that belonged to John Dee.
The British Museum actually has some of his items.
What's the importance of John Dee's tripod?
Dee was the most famous escapologist of the 16th century. The Houdini of his time.
Don't you mean alchemist? Escapologists use ropes, chains, and handcuffs, not tripods.
Well, whatever he was, that is the tripod he used in his experiments.
Well, this one's not a complete lie.
What kind of experiments did John Dee perform with his tripod?
Oh, the usual. Didn't you study chemistry at school?
Yeah, but we skipped over thaumatology.
For those of you that didn't get that joke, thaumatology is the study of miracles.
Can I take a closer look at the tripod?
What? Get it out of the case? Ah, no! That tripod is protected by a sophisticated surveillance system.
How sophisticated?
A painfully loud alarm bell.
Well, that might work if it was loud enough to burst their eardrums and disorientate them.
How is the alarm bell triggered?
By the slightest pressure on or movement of any part of the case wherein that tripod is situated.
Impenetrable, then.
It strikes me that to call your alarm system sophisticated is, well, stretching the truth a little.
It has never failed yet. The sophistication is in its simplicity.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Do you know anything about medieval manuscripts?
Not me, monsieur. I am no scholar, though people often mistake me for one. It is the uniform, I guess. They see the clothes. They are impressed.
And they ask you to park their cars?
They ask me to park the... No. They assume I am an authority on the exhibits in my care.
Whereas you know next to nothing about history.
Of course not. All I am saying is, I am no scholar. Not like Monsieur Lobineau.
Oh yeah, Lobineau, that's why I'm here. Well, it's handshake time.
Would you like to shake my hand?
Not while I'm on duty, monsieur.
Because he doesn't want to mix business and pleasure, I guess.
What do you make of this tissue?
It is absolutely disgusting, monsieur.
Not as disgusting as blue waffles. Google it.
What does this tool mean to you?
That belongs in a museum.
Pardon?
It is a priceless historical artifact, if I am not mistaken.
No, it's a plain old tool for lifting drain covers.
I really don't think this guy should be allowed to talk to the visitors.
Do you recognize this red nose?
I don't think so.
I'm just going to ask him about everything now.
Do you recognize the man in this photograph?
No, monsieur. Is there any reason why I should?
I guess not. Do you recognize this ID pass?
No.
Well, we all learned something today, but now it's time to leave.
Thanks for your help.
Okay then, I think I'll just go back to Nico's place and tell her Lobineau wasn't at the museum, I suppose. Oh, actually, before I go, I'm just going to try and distract the guard by opening this window and see if I can actually steal the tripod. Actually, I know I can't steal the tripod just yet, but I can't remember what happens if you try, so I'm going to try and trigger the alarm system, see if that leads to something happening.
As I reached toward the display case, a shrill piping filled the air. I froze, then tried to get myself together and act nonchalantly.
Well, he says a shrill piping filled the air, but I didn't really hear anything.
Now, what did I tell you about touching the exhibits?
Was it you can touch all you want so long as your hands are clean?
Not quite, monsieur.
Good try, though.
It was do not touch, not ever.
Oh yeah, that was it.
Okay, time to leave. One of my friends has been pestering me to make a live-action fan film of Broken Sword. I'm pretty skeptical because I don't think there's an audience for it. But what we might do is film a pilot and send it to Revolution Software if they still exist, and maybe try to get some funding or permission or something. If you're watching this because you're a fan of Broken Sword, let me know if that sounds like something you'd like to see. You can just leave a comment below if you like. It would be fun to do, but also extremely time consuming and financially quite costly. So tell me what you think, and also if you have any ideas on how we could get funding for something like that. I wonder how long George can stand there and stare like a sexual deviant before he gets caught. Oh.
Hi, Jules.
Hold on, does she not lock any of the doors in her building? The manuscript isn't very safe here.
I found the tripod.
Where?
In the museum. It belonged to the Templars. It was dug up in Ireland at a place called Loch Marn.
I have heard of Loch Marn. I read an article about the castle. Take a look for yourself.
And of course, I just happen to have the magazine right here. I could totally be a French transvestite.
A popular gossip magazine? You read that rubbish?
No, I write it.
She's definitely been embellishing her career.
Professor Nigel Pegram, excavating the medieval castle at Loch Marn. That's strange.
What?
He resigned his chair at Durham University in order to devote his time to the excavation. Not only that, but he cancelled the filming of a 4th series of his popular television program.
A television show about archaeology? Who the hell would watch that? There's no way something like that would stay on for 4 Oh.
This site at Loch Marn must be awful important to him.
Awfully.
He's a professor of history. They're all cuckoo.
All the same, I'd like to talk to this Professor Pegram. How do you feel about a trip to Ireland?
Disappointed.
Huh?
That I won't be going. I want to follow up the Bellotta case. If you really think Pegram's dam is important, why don't you visit Loch Marn?
On my own? I'm not so sure about that. Where is Ireland exactly?
I don't know. I think it's in England somewhere.
What do you know about Professor Pegram?
I've seen a television program, Pegram's Past. He's written a book, The Crusader Families of Ireland.
I'll bet he'd be interested in the manuscript.
Well, I'm sure you could phone him first to make sure instead of going all the way to Ireland. I mean, how long is your vacation anyway, George?
I'll see you later.
Okay. Keep me informed if you find anything new.
Do I not even get a kiss goodbye? So off we go to Ireland, where we'll meet even more assholes than we did in Paris. And I have to apologise again for the sound, because once we get to Ireland it's going to go a little bit quieter, so you'll need to turn your speakers up. This is because my computer crashed before I could actually play Ireland, and it messed up my settings a little bit. But for the next episode I will have my sound sorted once again. Strangely enough, you can actually go straight from the museum to Ireland without actually going to see Nico. Which is kind of weird, because George just turns up in Loch Marn and starts asking about Professor Pegram, even though you didn't have the scene where Nico first introduces the character.
Several hours later, I arrived in Ireland, the Emerald Isle. I'd been lucky to get a bus from Dublin to the tiny village of Loch Marn. On the way out, the driver told me there was only one service a day.
So here we are in Ireland. Looks pretty legit to me. And there's a kid hanging about outside the pub, probably waiting for his father to stop drinking so he can go home and get beaten. But first, let's check out the menu.
The menu was limited. It read, "No food today." I didn't care. I'd lost my appetite somewhere over the Irish Sea.
And can I right-click and use the menu in some way? No, he just shrugs. Okay, I'll check out this thing that looks like a trapdoor on the sidewalk.
It was a trap door in the sidewalk. I tugged at the trap door, but it was locked from the inside. It was a featureless plastic box, firmly attached to the wall of the building.
And because George always has the compulsion to open things that are closed,
I tugged at the plastic cover, but it didn't move.
Now let's have a look at this kid.
The lad was doing his best to express his adolescent aggression. His effort was somewhat diminished by the fringe of milk on his lightly feathered upper lip.
And because I can't put it off any longer, it's time for you to meet the real star of Broken Sword. This little manatee scrotum of a human being.
Hi there.
What?
What's your name, kid?
Who are you calling kid? Who the hell are you?
So I'm sure you can already see why I hate this little prick. So here I can either choose to introduce myself as a police inspector or actually tell the truth.
I'm George Stobart, and I'm with the good guys.
That's a weird thing to say.
You're a head case, mister.
Fuck you.
A few sandwiches short of a picnic.
Cut the crap and tell me your name.
Liam McGuire.
What are you doing hanging around the bar, McGuire?
I'm on the run from me dad.
Why? Did you do something bad?
Hey, can I call it or what?
I ain't done nothing, boss.
You can tell me, kid. Is it your dad?
Does he touch you? Tell me what he does.
Oh, sir. He drinks every last penny down his evil throat. And there's me poor old mother, bedridden and dying of presumption. I tried to buy her medicine. Chopped firewood for Father Mahoney till me fingers bled. The old skinflint cheated me too. But I took the pennies he gave me back home. Look, Ma, says I, see what your darling son has earned with his own sweat and blood. When suddenly, me dad appears and grabs the loot. I'm off to Dublin, heavy drinking, says he. Watch out till I get back.
I'm sure.
That's why I runned away.
Something in the grin on his face told me he wasn't being strictly truthful. Compared to him, Huckleberry Finn was a candidate for Altar Boy of the Year.
Now that he's done lying his little bastard lies, let's try and smother him with this disgusting handkerchief.
What does this tissue mean to you?
Nothing.
I fail to believe that's all he has to say about it.
Give me your hand.
Get lost.
Oh, come on. I just want to show you a little trick.
No way, mister. I don't do tricks. Father Mahoney told me I'd burn in hell if I did.
I just want to shake your hand, that's all.
Oh, all right.
Oh yes, I'm gonna get him good.
Gotcha. Neat, huh?
Yeah, I nailed him.
Didn't feel a thing.
What? Didn't feel a thing, you lying little fucker!
Shake my hand again.
No way.
Oh, you little fucking cockrag! I finally get someone and you just fucking... Oh.
Have you ever seen anyone wearing one of these?
Sure. Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
Smart-ass little shit.
It's a clown's nose. I was almost killed by the guy who wore it.
You should have told the cops.
I did. They weren't interested. Have you ever seen this man before?
What a slimy character. No, I never seed him.
Technically, you never seed anyone.
Take a look at this, McGuire.
It's an ID card. What of it?
Ever heard of Thomas Merlin or the Gruber Electronics Corporation?
No.
Hey, maybe I can beat him to death with this thing.
What do you think this tool is used for?
Lifting drains.
What? No
Dead
way!
right. How did you know that?
Work experience course at school. They gives me a choice of going down the drains or up the chimney.
You're kidding.
I don't even know if he's lying about that one.
Do you recognize this matchbook, McGuire?
No, sir. I never seen it before in my life.
His inability to speak proper English really annoys me.
Have you seen a guy dressed as a clown?
Here in Lochmarn, they all dress like clowns.
The man I'm looking for is a dangerous psychotic.
Jesus. It's just like that film I saw. Did this clown see?
Oh, God.
And he's after this kid who saw him kill a guy. He tries to warn the sheriff, only no one believes him. Then, while he's in the tub, the clown cuts him up with a chainsaw.
My God, that doesn't sound suitable for a kid like you.
Who are you calling a kid? I'm 25.
Yeah, right. You're not a day over 14.
Oh no, it's 25 that I am. Married with a car and 3 kids.
What?
10 kids if you count the wives.
That's the most hilariously over-exaggerated lie ever, and quite possibly the funniest thing I've ever seen in a game. Just because of that one story, I'm not sure if I like this kid now, respect him, or still hate him.
What can you tell me about the castle, McGuire?
What do you want to know?
Well, can I get inside?
No, it's locked up.
Does anyone live there?
No, only...
What?
Oh, nothing.
Awkward little bastard.
Do you know a man called Pegram?
Can you describe him like on the telly in the cop shows?
He's an English archaeologist.
I know the man you mean if he's the one.
I know he's gone straight back to annoying.
Can you tell me where I'd find Pegram?
No, I can't, 'cause he's not here now, but if I sees him, I'll ask him.
Oh, why does killing children have to be illegal?
Do you know what Pegram was doing in the castle?
Digging for buried treasure. Jewels and gold and skeletons, like in the films.
Why am I even still talking to this jerk?
Do you know anything about Pegram's dig?
He wouldn't let me anywhere near it. I offered to help, but he chased me off.
Good.
I didn't want to see his smelly old hole anyhow.
Did anyone from the village work at the dig?
Pegram bought some students and bums with him. He reckoned no one in Lochmarn would know what to look for. The only local guy who worked for him was Sean Fitzgerald.
What does this Fitzgerald guy look like?
Does he look like a bitch?
Big head, big ears, and face irons.
What?
You know, spectacles,
Dirt.
glasses. He's blind as a bat without him.
Okay, just one more topic to go.
You know something about the castle you're not telling me, don't you?
No,
What is it you're covering up? Is it something you're scared of?
I ain't scared of nothing.
I'll beat it out of you.
I'll give you one last chance to tell me about the castle.
Oh yeah? And what if I don't?
Then I'm taking you back to school.
Oh,
Ha!
there's a ghost. It's called the Phantom of Lochmarn.
Sounds ridiculous. Why don't you carry on?
You're not telling me you believe in ghosts, are you?
Mister, I seen it with me very own eyes. Last Tuesday night, I went up to see what that dig was about. I just reached the top of the wall when I hears this awful noise.
What sort of noise?
A horrible snuffling and snorting, like O'Brien's pig, only worse.
Worst?
It was coming from inside the castle.
Loving the scary music that accompanies this story.
Did you find out what was making the noise in the castle?
No fear. I just sat there on the wall like Humpty Dumpty. The moon was cracked and greasy like an old dinner plate. The yard was full of shadows. I could have been hiding anything. I would have gone home, but my legs had lost their stuffing.
Go on.
Did you get to see the ghost?
Indeed I did. And a fearsome sight it is too. I sat on my arse, waited while the moon went down. Then out it comes from the shadows, all grey and tattered and hunched over like an old bent willow. Then I hears this spluttering and splashing and horrible laughter in the dark. I was so scared. Why, I fell off the bloody wall.
Awesome, I hope you hurt yourself.
I'm sure there's a rational explanation for what you saw at the castle.
There is. The bloody place is haunted.
Hunrikery.
See you later, kid.
Okay, mister.
Well, that wraps up the conversation, and I think we'll end this part here. The next step is entering the pub, so if you want to watch George get drunk off his tits, come back for the next one. Thanks for watching.
I'm 25.